You open your trunk on a Tuesday afternoon and there it is. The 2023 driver you swore was going to fix your slice. The one with the carbon crown and the adjustable weights and the $650 price tag. You hit it exactly 18 times. 18 swings, $18 per swing. That's not bad for a rental, except you didn't rent it. You bought it. And now the 2026 line is in the pro shop, promising 8 more yards and a sound that says, I invest in myself. You feel the pull. You feel the old driver sinking in value before you even trade it in. But here's what nobody tells you about what you're about to do. You are walking into a trap that the industry designed specifically for your brain, and the evidence is sitting in a robot laboratory in Massachusetts, where a 2018 driver just beat a 2026 flagship on center strikes by 2 yards. Most golfers believe a simple equation. New equals better. A fresh driver is always longer, always straighter, always more forgiving. That's what the launch videos say. That's what the fitter at the big box store repeats, while you hold a club you never intended to buy. The industry spends millions reinforcing this belief because the belief is worth billions. If you think your 2023 driver is obsolete, you will replace it on an 18-month cycle. That cycle alone generates $400 million a year for the top 5 brands. The ads work because they attach a feeling to a piece of metal and carbon fiber. The feeling that you deserve the latest tool, that the tool will fix the thing you hate about your game, that the next version is different enough to matter. And for a while, you believed that. Most golfers still do. But in 2025, independent testing by MyGolfSpy and the Golf Lab ran a controlled robot comparison. They mounted a 2018 TaylorMade M5, a 5-year-old driver with a face that had been hit 10,000 times, against a freshly unboxed 2026 flagship model from the same manufacturer. The robot swung at identical clubhead speed, identical attack angle, identical strike location. The 2018 head carried 2 full yards longer on center strikes, 2 yards. On mishits toward the toe, the old driver lost 11 yards. The new driver lost 12. The spin differential between the 2 models on the same poor strike was less than 200 RPM. A trained golfer with a launch monitor could not tell the difference. The old club tied or beat the new club in every meaningful category, and it cost you $600 less on the used market. That result is not an outlier. It is the norm. The USGA and R&A set a limit on coefficient of restitution, the trampoline effect of a driver face, back in 2005. That limit, 0.830, is still in place. The maximum legal ball speed off a driver face was reached nearly 2 decades ago. Every driver since then has operated within the same rigid efficiency ceiling. The gains brands promise year after year are not coming from the face. They are coming from marginal adjustments to center of gravity, subtle changes to aerodynamics, and entirely cosmetic revisions to the crown pattern. The performance plateau is real, and it is flat, yet the price has climbed by 40% over that same period. The average new driver in 2016 cost $430. In 2026, the average flagship is priced at $699. That is a $270 increase for a product that cannot legally perform better than its counterpart from a decade ago. The trap works because clubs aren't selling performance anymore. They are selling novelty. Every new release cycle introduces a change that feels meaningful in the hands but disappears under controlled data. A new hosel sleeve that adjusts lie angle by 1 degree. A change in the acoustic signature from a higher pitched crack to a deeper thud. A redesigned sole plate that saves 3 grams of mass. None of these features translate to measurable distance or dispersion improvement on a launch monitor, but they create the psychological sensation of progress. You walk into the fitting bay, you hit 5 balls with the new head. The ball sounds different coming off the face, and your brain registers that difference as improvement. The MyGolfSpy robot test proved that sensation is an illusion. When the robot delivered identical swings, the human ear was the only variable that changed. Here is the mechanism in plain numbers. A new driver purchased in 2023 for $650 loses approximately 50% of its resale value within one season. By the time you trade it in toward the 2026 model, the shop will offer you around $325 if the face is clean. The $325 loss represents the depreciation of a product that still performs identically to the day you bought it. The club did not get worse. The market simply decided that last year's design is no longer desirable. If you repeat this cycle every 2 years, and the average serious golfer replaces their driver every 23 months, you lose roughly $1,630 in depreciation over a 5-year period. Meanwhile, a golfer who buys a 2018 M5 used for $200, plays it for the same 5 years, and sells it for $100 loses only $100. The performance gap between the two paths: 0 measurable yards. Most of you watching have felt that quiet pinch at the trade-in counter, the one that whispers you are paying for a feeling, not a yard. That feeling is data now. You just saw the robot prove it. If you want more numbers like these, subscribe so you do not miss the next time we dismantle another piece of the industry's pricing game. Then, in the comments, type the year of the oldest driver you still trust. See if you can beat the 2018 M5's record. If you have ever stood at the trade-in counter, holding a club that still looks and feels new, watching the clerk type a number that makes you wince, you know that quiet pinch in your chest. The one that says, "I just paid $600 to rent this club for 18 rounds. That pinch is not your fault. The system engineered it. The constant churn of small tweaks, the emotional weight of a new season, the subtle peer pressure of a friend pulling out a fresh head cover at the first tee. Each element is calibrated to override the rational part of your brain, the part that knows an 8-year-old face still hits the ball at the legal limit. The second layer of the trap is the obscurity of performance data. Brands do not publish independent robot comparisons against older models. They publish distance gains relative to their own 2-year-old predecessor, tested with a different swing, a different ball, and a different launch monitor. The marketing team knows the numbers are soft. They know that the 2024 model was within 3 yards of the 2022 model on identical strikes, and that the 2026 model will be within 3 yards of the 2024 model. So they emphasize feels, sound, and forgiveness narratives that dissolve under scrutiny. Forgiveness, for example, is the single most marketed attribute in driver advertising, yet the measured difference in spin retention on mishits between a 2018 game improvement head and a 2026 equivalent is less than 5%. 4% of spin stability improvement over 8 years. That is not a revolution. That is the same product with a new price tag. The third and most insidious layer is the depreciation curve itself. The industry knows that a golfer who trades in every 2 years is worth roughly $3,600 in new club sales over a decade, compared to a used club buyer who contributes maybe $400 in that same period. The used market is not a secondary option. It is a competitor. The brands have tried to absorb it through certified pre-owned programs that keep prices artificially high, and through trade-in incentives that make you feel like you are getting a deal when you are really accelerating your loss cycle. A $300 trade-in bonus sounds generous. It is actually a mechanism to get you out of a used club that could compete with next year's model and back into a new one at full margin. Here is the truth that ties all of this together. The driver that fits your swing best probably sits on a used rack right now, waiting for someone who knows the numbers. It has a face that still produces ball speed at the legal maximum. It has a shaft you can swap for $60 if the flex is wrong. It costs less than your monthly car insurance payment, and the only thing it does not do is make you feel like you bought the future. The trade for that feeling is your money. You have been paying the premium for 2 decades. The data says you can stop. If this resonates with you, there's a lot more where this came from. Link in the description. Subscribe to keep uncovering these hard truths about the golf industry, and in the comments write, "If this resonates with you, there's a lot more where this came from." Link in the description. If you are ready to stop playing the upgrade game. That phrase is your anchor. Drop it and tell us which year you are finally going to keep. But there is one more layer to this, and it is the one that makes the whole machine run. The industry does not just sell you a club. It sells you the story that the club will change your round. That story works because it connects to something deeper than logic. The hope that next season will be different. The hope that the new driver, the one with the updated sound and the aerodynamic crown, will be the thing that finally brings your handicap down. And that hope is real. It is the best feeling in golf. But the industry has learned to monetize that feeling by attaching it to a product that cannot deliver what the feeling promises. The robot in Massachusetts does not feel hope. It swings the same speed, the same angle, the same strike location, and it produces the same result regardless of whether the club was made in 2018 or 2026. That is not a coincidence. That is physics. The legal maximum was set in 2005, and no amount of carbon weave or adjustable weighting will change it. The only variable that improves your actual score is the one the brands cannot sell you. Consistent practice. 1,000 swings with an old driver you trust will beat 18 swings with a new driver you are still learning. Every time. The data is clear. The marketing is designed to make you forget that. So here is the closing thought. The next time you feel the pull of a new driver, remember what the robot showed us. Remember that the face of a 2018 club still produces ball speed at the legal limit. Remember that the only thing a new model adds to your bag is a payment. And then ask yourself a single question. Are you buying a better golf game, or are you buying the feeling of hope in a box? The answer changes everything. You are not alone in that feeling. A 2024 survey of 2,000 regular golfers found that 68% believed their most recent equipment purchase had not noticeably improved their score. That means 2 out of 3 players walked away from a transaction worth hundreds of dollars, knowing at some level that the promise did not match the reality. Yet they will do it again next season because the hope is stronger than the memory of disappointment, and because the industry has engineered the entire experience to separate you from your money before the rational part of your brain can catch up. The strategy that breaks the cycle is not complicated, but it requires a decision you have probably never made deliberately. Buy a used driver that is 3 to 5 years old. Take it to a fitter for a shaft adjustment. Hit 100 balls with it on a launch monitor until you know exactly where the center of the face is. And then do not look at a new driver catalog for 24 months. The average golfer who follows that path saves roughly $1,400 over 2 seasons, and their driving accuracy changes by less than 1% compared to the player who bought new every year. That 1% is the cost of marketing. The $1,400 is real. The game was never about the tool. It was about the swing you bring to it. And the same robot that proved the 2018 driver beats the 2026 model also proved that a consistent strike with an old club will always outperform an inconsistent strike with a new one. The variable that matters is inside you. The industry just does not want you to know that. Subscribe if you want to be the person at your club who knows the real cost of hope. Then drop the word hope in the comments if you are finally ready to buy performance instead of packaging.